Welcome to the Scene Podcast. And now, part 2 of our Texas Thespians coverage. Take it away, Justin.
Guys, thank you so much for listening. We are in our... This is probably going to be the first segment because I have someone who I've thanked on every single episode of the show so far. He's the reason the show exists. He's the reason the scene exists. I have Zach Dulli on the podcast. Zach, how are you?
I'm good, Justin. How are you?
I'm so good.
First, good to be on the podcast finally.
I know.
And thank you for finally having me.
He's asked every day. I keep saying no, even though he fully decides if I do the podcast. It's the scene exists. So the big, I want to ask you. This is going to be the first segment of the Texas Thespians episode for two reasons. One, because we're finally back. We're doing the scene again. We're so excited for season 3. Leah, KJ, shout out. It's going to be awesome.
Shout out.
Yeah, shout I love Zach. That's awesome. Sorry, Rachel's also here. Rachel, say hi.
Hi.
Okay, but
I love Rachel.
Rachel, Zach's the first person I've ever interviewed that pushed a button on the thing.
You put me next to it.
I put you next. Okay, so what I want to know is, everyone listening to this probably knows what it already is, but what is the scene?
So the scene is a...
How did it start also?
Yeah, so it's well, the scene started, I guess, 2.5 years ago now. And really it came out of basically an idea to do a weekly newsletter to just have for theater educators, theater fans who maybe don't have the time to literally pay attention to what's happening in the theater world every day, right? So we sort of try to look at what happened that week in regional news in the UK, on Broadway, and then just sort of in theater in general, and really sort of highlight the most important stories from that past week. And then also we try to write original articles and stories just sort of for theater educators, just trying to help, solve a problem, maybe just give them some encouragement. A lot of theater educators, especially high school theater teachers, are kind of islands. They're almost by themselves in their school,
like figuring it out, kind of on their own.
Nobody really gets it. Other teachers may not get it, and so sometimes it can be a lonely place, and theater is collaborative, right? Yeah. So when you feel alone, it's actually extra hard, I think. Yeah. So having somebody who's like, hey, I see that, here's some tricks, or here's something that maybe will make your life a little easier, I think it helps, especially when you consider that most high school theater educators are not just the director. They're also the producer and the tech director
and the teacher
and the designer. Maybe they're a parent, and maybe they're a spouse, and so they're
doing everything. Yeah.
And so that's really what we try to just make their life a little easier by giving them the most important news that week, and then some other inspiration or ideas or cool interviews with people. And that's also kind of where the podcast came from.
And I mean, obviously, it's absolutely taken off. How many weekly subscribers do we have to it?
It's 355,000.
That's insane.
That's 171 countries.
That's so cool.
Yeah, so it's neat. It's neat to hear from people all over the world. Just literally today here at Texas Thespians.
Had someone come up and gush over Zach. It was awesome.
Well, what was nice was he didn't know. Yeah. He didn't know that we had done it, and it was nice to hear him say, oh my God, I love the scene, and I read it every week. And I was like, well, that's awesome, because, I really appreciate that. Yeah. So, anybody who reads it, I'm really writing it to let people know, hey, you got people out there who love you, and we think it's important that we have good theater teachers, because I think most of us wouldn't be in this field, the space, we didn't have a teacher who inspired us, right?
100%. Yeah.
So that's kind of what it's about.
That's amazing. And I cannot say how grateful I am for the scene, because obviously it's a huge part of the theater that I make now, and I love being on the team. Currently, we're at Texas Thespians. Zach goes to a million conferences a year.
I do.
And this is my first one. You've been to a couple Texas Thespians. This is going to be the first one. I want you to tell the audience, give a brief description of what this insane chaos is.
Oh, yeah. So the way I just like to describe it is, imagine you were put into a biodome. Yeah. The outside doesn't kind of exist anymore, and it's just you and 10 to 15,000 theater kids.
It's insane.
And that's all it is for 3.5 days.
Yeah.
And You know what? It's awesome. Sometimes I'm like, guys, it's 2 a.m. Can we
Please
stop
singing Hamilton.
But
Please stop.
At the same time, I used to be that, so like,
100%.
I get it. You're good, and sometimes I sing along with him. But
Yeah.
it's unique. I've
Yeah.
been to a lot of. I go to a lot of theater conferences. There's
Yeah.
nothing like this one. It's
It's the
everything's
biggest.
bigger.
Everything's bigger in Texas.
That's truth.
Yeah.
It really is. And there's genuine enthusiasm for it. Like
Yeah.
all day today, we've had cool conversations with lots of teachers, lots of kids, and it's the best. You know,
Yeah.
come on.
Yeah.
There could be a lot worse days. I've had a lot worse day of doing work, not like literally getting to talk theater. all day.
Yeah, it's the best.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is there, before I let you go, is there any like Texas thespian memory or experience in your past couple that you've gone to that like really reminisce with you or is like one of your favorites?
Oh, gosh. I mean, really, it was probably last year, which was, and this is how good I am. This will segment you to another segment.
Good.
But was here at the booth by myself, and we have lots of plays, and we're selling plays, and we're talking to people, and I was usually have people with me, and I was by myself, and I look up, and Don Zelitis is literally back behind the table selling plays with me, and he was like, "I got you, man," and it was one of the coolest things to have another playwright do.
Yeah.
And I know we're going to be talking to him soon. So
Honestly, I'll
there's
have
my
KJ,
segue.
segue into this. This will be perfect. You made KJ's job a little easier today.
I was like, see, I'm
Yeah.
always thinking.
Yeah.
No, but that was the goal, right? Stop.
That was
Stop
Zach.
it.
That wasn't me. I want you to know that was Zach and it was not me.
No, but that was
Yeah.
to me. That was really cool. And Don is he's from Texas. He was a teacher here, so he's even kind of bigger here than he is around the country.
He's like a celebrity here.
Oh my God.
He's a celebrity in general, but like this is like it's
a
big.
big. And so for him to be selling, not just like he wasn't just selling his plays. He was like helping me sell other people's plays.
Yeah.
This was very cool of him. And,
That's awesome.
So to me, it's like mad respect to that guy forever because you don't have to do that, and he did. And so it was neat. And again, like we're talking here, our booth is still full of kids, which is incredible. So, and you can't get plays anywhere anymore, right?
No,
unless you're in New
especially
York.
unless you're in New York. Yeah.
So it's fun to sort of have the opportunity to give them what I think growing up I had more of an opportunity to do, which was to go and just like browse through plays, right?
Yeah.
That's such a fun thing. I still love to go to the drama bookshop and do that myself.
Oh yeah.
And you realize there's not many places in the country anymore that experience happens. So we can give them a little bit of that at our booth. It's even cooler. So anyway,
Zach, thank you so much for being on. I know the audience has been
Anytime,
clamoring.
Justin.
In about 40 episodes we'll have you back.
Oh, great. Okay.
But I think you also perfectly segued into let's talk to Don Zelitis.
Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it. All right, KJ, let's get there. You love pressing buttons,
I
man.
do. I don't know what the other ones do, but wow.
You want to press some more before we go?
I want to push a button.
Rachel's gonna
press.
Button. Which one was that?
That was crickets. It was crickets.
What, crickets?
It's fine. Okay, I'm turning this off. Let's get to the Don Zelitis interview. All right, I'm here at Texas Thespians with Don Zelitis. Don, how are you?
Great. I'm doing great.
I'm so glad to be talking to you. I have a little bio that I'm going to let everyone know.
All right.
Don Zelitis is a renowned American playwright and author, best known for his humorous and impactful plays for youth and high school audiences. His works include The Brothers Grimm Spectaculathon and Deadline. He blends comedy with social insight, often exploring themes of identity and relationships. Zelitis scripts are widely performed across schools and theaters all over the country and the world. Praised for their sharp dialogue and relatable characters. In addition to plays, he's also written novels, further establishing his versatility as a writer. Don, how are you doing?
I'm doing really good. I love coming to Texas Thespians. It is always a wild time. I think we've got almost 8,000 teenagers here.
Wild.
So it is a little nuts.
Yeah. I was going to start. I want to say, like, what are you doing here? And also tell me about Texas Thespians and like what it means to you, like what? Because I know that you are from here, or you work here.
I used to teach here.
Yeah.
So I'm not from Texas, but
You
but
taught
I've
here for a
lived
while.
here
Yeah.
20 years now. So
Wow.
I guess I'm an honorary Texan.
Yeah.
And Texas Thespians is a gathering of theater people from all over the state. Sometimes even outside of Texas, people come to this. There's college auditions, there's workshops, there's plays that are being performed.
Yeah.
There's scholarships that are given out. It is a wonderful thing. I've come actually as a parent sometimes with my kids.
Yeah.
But I've been coming to Texas Thespians almost since I started here in Texas, so almost 20 years now.
Wow, that's so awesome. Is there any like special Texas Thespian memory that like you love a lot? Was there like a show of yours that got performed, or something with your kids, or something like a workshop? 'Cause I know you teach a lot of workshops while you're here.
Yeah, I got to see 10 Ways to Survive the Zombie Apocalypse for the
that's
first time
awesome.
here. And
For the first time ever, you saw it here? That's so cool.
And it was such a fun time because there's so much enthusiasm about the plays here. The audience is roaring to go.
Yeah.
So, they open the doors and there's a stream of 400 kids that come in and fill every seat, and it's it's every playwright's dream to have 400 people charge in to see your play.
Yeah.
So that was a lot of fun.
That's awesome. That's so sweet. So I do want to talk about that a bit. So we're currently at a conference center with like 8,000 students.
Yep.
It's insane. Who have most likely probably all have done a play of yours, or there's a good chance that they've
Not all of them.
A lot of them probably have. So I want to know, like, you have this really special relationship with playwriting and theater where there's a lot of kids in the world that their first experience performing or participating in theater or on a stage is a Don's Delightus title. Like, what does that mean to you? And how do you kind of go at that as a playwright, knowing that that's a really big part of your audience?
Yeah. I've talked to so many people that, one of my plays was their first show in 7th grade or something like that.
Mhm.
It's really special. It's wonderful to think about. I've estimated, I think there's 500,000 people who've acted in my plays.
That's wild.
And a lot of those probably it was their first experience. It's something that's kind of really huge, and you can't really think about it but just be grateful.
Yeah.
And just feel like honored.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of how many people performed in it, I wanted to kind of flex. I mean, if I even can anymore. Like, you're killing it. Your canon is about to pass 20,000 productions of your
25,000.
25,000 productions. It's in. I'm going to do a sound effect. That's how exciting it is. A little applause sound effect. We're high tech here. How does that feel to know that you've gone over 25,000? You're about to go over 25,000 productions of your show. You have all of your shows.
Yes. Yeah, not just one of them.
Yeah.
All of them together. It's something that you can't even really put into words. I mean, you can't even really think about it, honestly.
Yeah.
It's just sort of, you do what you do.
Yeah.
You hope it connects with people. And you're just really glad that it does.
Yeah. I know you said you were a teacher for a long time, and you are primarily writing for the audiences here, and a lot of students are doing your work. What was it like being... What is your experience as a teacher? How has that affected your time as a playwright? Like working directly with kids in a high school or middle school stage. How does that affect what you're writing?
Well, I think it affects my focus.
Yeah.
I think a lot of playwrights, they either focus on the audience experience, or they focus on the vision of the play, the integrity of the play, and that's their most important thing.
Yeah.
For me, the most important thing is the experience of the performers in the show.
Yeah.
So the actors are the most important thing for me, and that stems from when I taught them. And, the kids were my responsibility. The audience was not my responsibility. The play was sort of, outside of that. But my principal responsibility as a teacher was to teach these kids who are in my class. So I write plays so that they can have a great experience.
Yeah.
And that means... if there's a small part in the show, it's got to be a great part. It's got to be fun to play. I'm not just teaching, the stars from my class.
No, of course.
I'm teaching everyone.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of where my focus is as a writer. And I think that's hopefully why they resonate so much.
Yeah, that's amazing. I think that you have such a large canon, especially in the play scripts catalog of all of these different plays that people do, and every single part within every single one of your shows is so much fun. Even the ones that have just a couple lines, you write so much to grab onto and make sure every kid gets their moment kind of on stage, which is so wonderful.
Absolutely.
Is there a play that because you've written so many, is there a play...
I have to remember them all.
Is there a play that you've written that you're if someone's so give me a play that describes you as a playwright or shows off the best of Don's, this is kind of my style, what I do. Is there one that you're read this one to start?
Wow.
If you're going down the Donzolitis canon slide.
You know, I'm always going to pick the newest ones because
Yeah.
I think the newest ones are the best ones.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, hopefully as a writer, you're getting better, you're experimenting, you're learning. One that was, I think 2 that were recently published. I Heard You Were Dead, which is a drama.
Yeah.
And Emily Bronte, Teenage Necromancer.
Such a
which,
good play.
which just came out. Those are more where I'm headed now, which is a little more complicated, a little more plot story heavy.
Yeah.
But also really exciting, really funny, really imaginative, really theatrical.
Yeah.
So those are the kind of plays that I really think show off what I do as a writer.
Yeah, absolutely. Don, thank you so much for talking to me for a minute. Before I let you go,
Sure.
I'm going to ask you something that I ask every playwright that I love very much and I think is awesome. Because I love getting tea and I love knowing what's going on. Is there anything in the works? Is there anything coming up? Is there anything you're working on that you're allowed to talk about that you can let us know? Or is there like any like cool ideas kind of percolating in your brain that you're really excited?
I'm really excited that we're going to see some new musicals coming out from me.
Really?
That are going to be adaptations. I won't spoil which plays of mine are being turned into musicals, but it's more than one. And hopefully they'll be ready for next fall.
That's awesome. That's so cool. Don, thank you so much. You guys can check out Don. I mean, you can check out all of his stuff over on PlayScripts or donzolitis.com. And yeah, thank you so much for stopping by.
Thanks. It was a pleasure.
Thank you so much. All right, still here at Texas Thespians. I'm here with Jonathan Dorf. John, how are you?
I am doing all right.
I have a nice big bio for you that I'm going to read, so everyone knows how
Awesome.
cool and important you are. Okay, Jonathan Dorf, playwright and screenwriter, has more than 2,500 play productions of their shows, including productions in every U.S. state, as well as Canada, Europe, Africa, Asia, Central and South America, Australia, and New Zealand. He's been a finalist for the Actors Theater of Louisville Heinemann Award, the Hyperion One Act Award, the Weinberg Playwright Residency, and the Interact and Charlotte Rep New Play Festivals. And he's worked with such companies as the Walnut Street Theater, Playwrights Theater of New Jersey, Ensemble Studio Theater, LA, Moving Arts, and the Pittsburgh New Works Festival. He's the co-founder and managing partner of Youth Plays, a publisher of plays and musicals for young actors and audiences at which over 24 of his plays reside. His plays often focus on issues affecting young people with a particular emphasis on identity, relationships, and social challenges. Dorf is also an author of several books on playwriting, including The Playwriter's Guidebook. He has taught creative writing and playwriting at various institutions around the world. Jonathan Dorf, thank you for being here.
Happy to be here.
Such a long bio, but I feel like I had to get it all in, you know?
Extremely long.
Well, we're here at Texas Thespians. I want to know what you're doing here and how many times you've been in Texas Thespians. What is this place to you?
So I have been coming to Texas Thespians for quite a while now, it
Yeah.
feels like. You know, it's got to be, I think, 5, 6, maybe even longer.
Yeah.
And I did not only Grapevine, but I did
Corpus Christi.
Yeah, I did
Yeah.
Corpus, and I
Wow.
did San Antonio, and as I started going to the Southern Festival, and they started that one.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of fun. I mean, it's a great way to
Yeah.
connect with what really is one of the biggest drama markets in educational theater in the country, because Texas has so
many.
educational theater.
It's the biggest thespian festival I've ever been to. I've been to a couple, and this surpasses anything by a mile.
There is one that's bigger,
Really?
Florida.
Really?
At least back in the day. Now, I haven't been to Florida in a couple years, but Florida pre-pandemic at its height was somewhere around, I want to say like 11,000.
Oh my
It was
gosh.
insane. They took over the city of Tampa. But other than that, this is the biggest.
Yeah, I mean, I can only imagine something bigger than this would make me explode. That's absolutely wild. So I want to talk about some of your titles with play scripts.
Sure.
4 a.m., over 600 times produced. The Alibis, 400 times produced. You write these plays that so many people are doing and are so well done in high schools. People are, you are some people's like first play that they ever perform. Their jump into theater. What is your take on writing with that audience in mind? What do you do when you're going into writing for high schools or high school theater or that style of audience?
I think that the biggest thing is just to respect them.
Yeah.
I think that one of the problems that we see with plays for young people in general is that there's this idea that you have to preach to them or talk down to them.
Yeah.
And teenagers are really starving
Yeah.
for great roles to play. And so, when I just think of it as, I don't think of it as a play for teens in a way. I just think of it as I want to write the best play I can, and I want to have teen characters. For the most part, I've really, if you look at my play scripts titles, most of those characters are actual teenagers.
Yeah.
Because I think that in reality, I live in Hollywood.
Yeah.
Like literal Hollywood. And you will never be asked to play, we'll say, a 40-year-old
Yeah.
when you're 16. So I want to write a great role that a 16-year-old can feel is age appropriate for them.
No, absolutely.
So like all those characters in 4 a.m.,
Yeah.
they're all young
Teens,
people.
yeah,
other than maybe the monster under the bed.
Yeah.
Who knows how old that monster is.
Yeah. Is there one of your plays in the play scripts catalog that you are like specifically like, when I wrote this, I was writing it for like this specific intention, or like I was like thinking about this like when it comes to high schoolers or anything? Is there anything that comes to mind?
Well, I think the one probably that had a particular intention in mind, or really was just sort of the mood I was in at that time, was Declaration.
Oh, yeah.
So Declaration is one of the plays that I'm proudest of, and I love 4 a.m. and I love its companion, the magic
Yeah.
hour, and I love when people do them together.
Yeah.
Because I think that's great. But Declaration, I think that one was after Marjorie Stoneman Douglas, and I think a lot of us, we were all like really, really angry.
Yeah.
Because how could this happen again? I think the first time I had written a play about school violence was after Columbine.
Yeah.
And so, kind of full circle. And obviously, I think I'm a little better playwright than I was, maybe 20 years ago. I'm certainly a different playwright,
Yeah.
but I think also a better one.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Declaration, I was super angry when I wrote it, but I also wanted to channel that anger into something constructive, and I think that's a lot of what theater is supposed to do.
Absolutely. Yeah. Have you seen it yet, or have you seen it on a stage a couple
So
times?
I did. It's had a good number of productions.
Yeah, a good number of productions.
But I saw the premiere. They actually brought me up.
That's
so that
awesome.
was, Beacon Arts Charter
Yeah.
in Rhode Island, up in the Providence area.
Yeah.
And I don't think quite Providence. I think it was like, I forget the name of the actual city.
Yeah.
So I got to see that, and I got to work with them. I was in residence.
That's
and
awesome.
got to do rewrites, and so that was amazing.
That's so cool as a playwright when you get to like watch your show go up and like help be a part of the team that kind of builds it.
And sometimes change things, say like this
Yeah.
isn't quite working. How can we do that? And it was great because the teacher who directed it, he had gotten a lot of local news coverage, and so I got to do like a couple local news affiliates.
Yeah, cool.
And it felt like something important
Yeah.
to do, and the kids did a great job with it.
Yeah.
I think they usually rise to the occasion if you give them something,
Yeah.
set the bar high, they will generally find a way to hurdle over it.
Yeah.
And so that was a great moment. And, the challenge with Declaration was it has gotten quite a few productions, but it kind of was poised to break out, and then COVID happened. It was literally
its lead up kind of was
it
dampened.
Yeah, we actually we were at Florida Thespians with like boxes of Declaration scripts.
Yeah.
Or we were going to be at Florida Thespians, I should say, and that was when everything was canceled.
Oh, man.
And so there was no Florida Thespians. I was supposed to go to Florida. I was supposed to go to Ohio that year. Multiple things, and suddenly, an ITF didn't even happen. So it was like suddenly I was like radically underemployed.
Yeah.
As we all were
Yeah,
at that
yeah.
time. But so that play sort of vanished a little bit, and we're sort of working at kind of rebuilding that momentum, because obviously the problem, school violence, clearly still exists.
Absolutely.
And unfortunately, it looks like it's poised to exist for a while.
For a long time. Well, that's such an amazing story, and it's such an amazing play. But speaking of plays for young audiences, I want to talk about youth plays. So Youth Plays is you founded it. You're the CEO. You're the founder.
Managing partner.
Managing
I
partner.
co-founded it with Ed Shockley.
Sweet. And yeah. I mean, I have it here. Youth Plays publishes a diverse range of talented and original dramatic voices, both new and established, from all over the world, in order to provide a superior, carefully curated collection of plays and musicals for young actors and audiences. I want you to tell me about the creation of this. Tell me about like why you started this. Tell me about like what the journey has been like.
So it was an idea. Actually, it was a URL. Because there's like youthplays.com was available, and I thought, wow, that's too good a URL to miss.
Yeah.
So so I did that, and I knew Ed Shockley because we had run the Philadelphia Dramatist Center together back in the 90s, and there was a guy named Matt Buchanan who was also involved at the time, and Matt was one of the first people that I knew from Harvard Theater, and together we had worked on this, and then unfortunately Matt had some issues, some health issues, had to sort of leave for a while, and Ed and I kind of started this road. Unfortunately, Ed, who also has work at Broadway Licensing, so he had a serious stroke. It's probably 8-10 years ago now, and so Ed, kind of after the beginning, had to kind of step aside, and I still see him whenever I go to Philadelphia, and we'll talk some business things, but he isn't as involved as we would all love him to be. We started with just our plays that were targeted at young people that weren't at other publishers, and eventually grew the catalog to over 600 titles.
That's amazing.
With people, including a lot of people who are in the Broadway licensing catalog, and we have Don Saulitis plays, and probably Claudia Haas. I'm thinking maybe, I don't know if she has stuff with you, but a lot of great people. And, because I think that what's so beautiful about publishing is that everybody has their own taste.
Yeah.
And a voice in a particular play that may not be the right fit for one publisher at that time.
Absolutely.
May be just the right fit for somebody else.
Yeah.
And, so it's, in some ways it feels like a labor of love. I mean, we're still a small company compared to, somebody big like Broadway Licensing. But it's fun to kind of go around to different conferences and to, help teachers find things that they need, whether it's things for senior directs. We have a very strong Theater for Young Audiences collection. So, for example, we have a play by a guy named Tommy Jamerson called The Big Bad Bully-saurus, and the Walnut Street Theater in Philadelphia has toured that show now 3 separate seasons.
Oh,
it's
my
been
gosh.
so successful. So, and actually this season they're touring. He has a follow-up to it, and they're touring that, and it's bullying with dinosaurs.
That's awesome. Yeah.
So we love our Theater for Young Audiences stuff too, and in addition we have sort of high school, middle school is kind of our wheelhouse, and we also have some things for elementary, and so we're continuing to grow. But sort of slowly and steadily, because it is still largely me, and obviously I have, people who are doing things. Actually, Keegan Shuett, who is my head of submissions, actually won the Yale Drama Prize this year.
Wow.
So Keegan is an amazing writer,
Oh my God, yeah.
and they have a number of plays with us. And Yale is obviously publishing their newest one, which wouldn't have been right for us because
probably.
Our focus is on plays that have substantial age-appropriate roles for younger actors, and this is not that kind of play.
Yeah.
But they did send it to me, and I'm looking forward to reading it, maybe on the plane for Thanksgiving.
That's amazing. That's so awesome. That's awesome. Is there a play or two in the Youth Plays catalog that you're like, not enough people know, like people have to read this play because it's awesome?
Yeah, so there are a couple. One of them, it was our first AATE Distinguished Play Award winner. It's a play by Mark Costello. It's called Kid Turboni Brings the Rain.
Yeah.
And it's this gorgeous little TYA play. Runs like maybe 60 to 75 minutes about this boy. He's maybe 12 and he's lost his mom, and he's living in the zone in Albuquerque, New Mexico, which is a low-income area, and it is hotter than anything out there, hotter than Hades.
Yeah.
And he has heard about this legendary former resident of the zone named Smack Turkinson, who has stolen the rain from Mother Nature, and Kid is determined to bring the rain to his people. And the writing is just so sharp. And lovely. And when people say, like, what's your favorite thing on the table? I said, this, at least not counting anything that I wrote, because I feel like those have to be disqualified.
Yeah, of course.
That might be it. There's also a great play by Stephen Kaplan called Rosalind Wrecked It All.
Yeah.
And it is a modern take on sort of the aftermath of Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah.
And you have Rosalind, who obviously didn't go to the party, and everything is her fault, and everyone is blaming her for the suicides, and she has to clear her name. And the writing is just so smart, and I think the takeaway is so smart, and so those plays, I would love for more people to know about them. Rosalind is still pretty new, and I think it's going to break out.
That's a great title. Rosalind Wrecks It All is a great title.
I mean, Rosalind Wrecked It All. Like, it is a great title.
I'm gonna come over to your booth and probably buy it in the next 12 minutes, because that sounds awesome.
Awesome.
Jonathan, thank you so much. The last thing I ask to all the playwrights and people that come on that I love and think are awesome is, do you have anything? I love to get the scoop. Do you have anything in the works? Do you have anything that you're, like, really excited about that you want to talk about? Do you have anything that you're like, yeah, I can give you a little something cool?
So I will preview a few things.
Yeah, please.
So I'm working on a full length, though I think I'll probably create a one-act version as well, and I think I've decided how to do that.
Yeah.
A superhero play.
That's awesome.
And I think it's going to be really fun because it's about, there are lots of superhero kinds of things out there, but it really focuses on this teenager who thinks they have superpowers because they bent a spoon when they were 3, and their mom has literally run away from home because they don't want to give them the bad news of what really happened that day. And so I'm working on that one. I have a killer title for a parody of a play that I think is actually, it's a Broadway licensing play.
Really?
So I can't, but the title is so good.
I want to hear it off mic then, if you can't say it now.
I can't say it on mic, but I might.
I want to hear it, yeah.
I might say it off.
Yeah.
And then I will hint at another one act that I'm working on, and all I can say is involves a playground, and I think if I do it right, it's going to be really, really fun.
Oh, that sounds awesome. Jonathan, thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Thank you, Justin.
And that's our show. Thank you so much for listening to the Scene podcast. Wait, this is applause from Rachel. Rachel.
Yay!
Hey. Rachel is just telling me, she's like, I can't believe you're on my podcast. I'm like, we've sat next to each other for like 28 straight hours at this festival. We've just been sitting here selling plays to children, and it's awesome. It's been, wait, we're about to be done. How was your first Texas Thespians? Tell me, Rachel.
It was great. We met a lot.
Wait.
There's a lot of teenagers.
There's so many teenagers.
And they love Hamilton.
They do. She's referencing the fact that last night, the first night of our time, we all like got dinner together and went to bed. And I went to my hotel room, and the people next to my hotel room, the children sang Hamilton till 2 a.m. So it was tough, but we're here, baby. We made it. Thank you guys so much for listening to the Scene podcast. I'm so grateful and thankful to be back. I cannot wait for you to see season 3 or listen to season 3. It's going to be absolutely awesome. It's going to be so much fun. Shout out to KJ. Shout out to Leah. Shout out to Zach. Zach, say goodbye to the Scene podcast for the day.
Goodbye, Scene podcast listeners.
That was really good. That was very good. But yeah, shout out to Zach and KJ and Leah. This show would not exist without you guys. Thank you guys so much. Check out the Scene, our newsletter. Obviously, if you're listening to the podcast, you probably are attached to the newsletter, but there's amazing stuff. Yeah, it's on Substack. It's brilliant. And it's thescenenews.com, right? thescenenews.com. Yeah, check out our website. Really great stuff. Shout out to all of our people that were on here. Some people are just amazing. Don Zalitis, Jonathan Dorf, John DeMitchell, the Wands winner for Harry Potter in Texas. We are so grateful to everyone who stopped by the booth, who bought some plays, who let us talk to them about theater. I'm so happy. This is my first Texas Thespians. Looking directly at Zach Dulli, I cannot wait for next year, baby. I'm so excited. I'm going to end this episode the way I end every episode, by acting like a very scared acting student. And actually, I think I'm going to let Zach end this episode the way I end every episode. Zach, do the honors.
And scene.
See you guys next time.
The Scene podcast is made possible by Zach Dulli, Justin Borak, Leah Barker, and KJ Lampar. New episodes of The Scene are coming soon. Don't forget to follow the show wherever you get your podcasts to stay up to date with exclusive interviews and theater content you won't find anywhere else. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you again next time.